I'm Pat Sloan. Welcome to my neighborhood for my fireside chat here on a Monday evening. I have got some super fun things to show you. One is applique. I'm going to do a little demo of Fusible applique, show you the blocks we've worked on, answer some questions. One of them is about fabric picking, and do you see I have new glasses? Red glasses. I can't tell you how long I have wanted red frames. I don't know why it was so hard to do that. Have you ever had something like that? You're like, you really want to wear or make or do something and you don't. You just push it off, whether you think it's silly or it's not practical, or maybe you are worried you can't accomplish it. So I bought red glasses. Whatever you can do, you should do it. You should just figure it out and make it happen. So if you have one of those things, tell me what they are. I am going to kick off the night with what was somebody called it, the snack chat, because I have to show you the snack of the week, which was a gift. That's pretty cool. I was so excited to get in the mail from Carolyn. Ta-da! She sent me her favorite bars, and she said her and her mom both love these, and they're cranberry, almond, macadamia nuts. Like all of those things, amazing. And okay, so I'm going to take one out of here to show you. I only opened the box part way, and yes, I did try them. I did get one out. There we go. So here's what they look like. And I'm sure that you've seen them in the store. What I like is they don't have like icing, and they're not like a cookie. I like nuts, and that's what these are. They do have a sweetener that, holds it all together. So, but it's not like a candy bar or a cookie, So these are fabulous. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My snack after a hard day at work. Usually I have a snack in the afternoon. Do you have snack time? I know, I feel like I'm in kindergarten, right? Snack time. Usually around 3 or 3:30, I'm like, okay, I need to have I'm hungry. So, I need to eat something. And that's what I do. And I have this new tray. I just had my drink on it. Remember my coffee mug? I found the equivalent in the tray, the BU, see? Red glasses, whatever that thing is that you are like wishing you could do it. Tell me what it is. I want to know what it is. Because like red glasses was not that hard, and I am so excited to have them. Will they go with everything? Who cares, right? Who cares? I don't care. So I have, let's see, what am I going to start with? First, I talked about taking my recipe box and getting my real recipes out and putting it in there, and I did it. Ta-da! There they are. I will pull out one to show you, which is, let's see, I have things that were printed, like, printed off the internet like that. And let's see, what is this? Here's one that's a copy. No, okay, this is from this is like a little handwritten, like Vidalia onion rice. This is from my dad's wife, and I have other recipes, just all kinds of good stuff in here. So I did it. I went and converted them all into the pretty recipe box and got rid of the ugly plastic blue one, which I gave to the shipping department so he could use it in the garage, which who knows what men use old recipe boxes in the garage for. I don't even want to know. Don't want to know. It's probably be nuts and bolts in there or something like that. And I felt like it was a quilt block kind of day. So I've got my aqua t-shirt on from the Fat Quarter Shop with the quilt block. This is comfy and it's really long. So I'm thinking that I might convert this to a sleep shirt. I like to sleep in t-shirts. Too much information probably, right? So let's see, I have blocks. Got my rolling assistant over here. So this week on Main Street, I gave you the layout. Now for some of you that are really new to my sew-alongs, you may not get having the layout in the middle, but I tell you, you will thank me at the end. I give you the layout way before we're finished. That way you can start sewing and making your quilt up as you go, so that at the end, all of a sudden you don't have 12 blocks and you're looking at doing this whole bunch of work to do the layout. Instead, you can do it like this week. You can just cut and sew all the stuff for the layout. Maybe you start on the border. If you're going to do the little squares, it's going to take you a little bit longer. But I sewed, this is the cheeky version I got out to show you. I have some of the, see, I did the sashing for these, for this unit, and I actually have another unit, and I just need to sew these together. I think it's upside down. Doesn't really matter to show you, but so those two will go together. So they are ready to sew together for Main Street, and then I have to cut and make the country store version. So I will be doing that. The other thing this week is, remember, we're on a roll with the witches. The witches night out. We're on a roll, and we're on pumpkins. So this week was the second pumpkin, the little pumpkins. The book is set up with all the pumpkins. They do all the little ones and bigger ones, and then all the non-pumpkins. I am going to mix it up. We're going to do 2 weeks of pumpkins and then a non-pumpkin. I think it's 2 weeks of pumpkins and then a non-pumpkin, because I find that's more interesting and I don't want to be bored with tons of pumpkins. So here is the pumpkins that are like the book. So remember, I have the whole quilt that I'm doing just like the book. There's those. But then I took the starter kit, the starter bundle. It's not a kit, it's a bundle. It's like 20 fat quarters, and then you need to add more to it. But it's a starter bundle, and I did the pumpkin and starter bundle. I really like this one. I think it's super cute. So if you've bought the starter bundle, go into your stash and add to it. Find more oranges, find more grays, spice it up. To throw in a couple of blacks. I mean, if you want to make some of your accents, somebody did, like this is last week, somebody did purple instead of the gray. They're doing purple. Make it your own, but use that starter bundle as a kickoff. And you can add some of the original fabric. It's in yardage, but there's no kits anymore. Those were sold out, but it's in yardage. And then next week this is what we're doing next week. So next Thursday, this coming Thursday, will be the witch's hat. Now somebody went all crazy. She did all hers already, which is totally fine. You have the book, and I'm linking all this down here. And speaking of that, below the video is all the information I talk about, and if you would take time to subscribe if you're on YouTube, if you're watching this over at my Facebook, if you would just click over to YouTube and subscribe. That way you will never miss anything, because you will always get the notifications from YouTube. You won't always get it from Facebook. It's just the way Facebook works. So you want to click the little bell as well, because that will give you a notification by email. Yay! So do that, subscribe, so you don't miss anything. Now we also, last week, let me just put that on the floor. Last week I did talk to you about scrap quilts and the traffic jam. So I wanted to show you what progress I made on that. And I was doing this as I was sewing other things. So it's not like I sat down and made these. This was just, I was sewing other things. And I actually got a lot done because the squares are all cut. I have all the squares cut, so it's more just picking them up to start and end as I'm going. So here, So here are four traffic jam blocks all together. Can you see? I didn't want to like totally cover me up. There we go. And I've got 4 of them, and then sashing with 1 cornerstone. And I'm using light sashing because I want these all to float, these plus signs to float. Super cute, right? I love it. I'm like, how many can I make? I'm going to consider this 1 block. So I've already got 1 more done, and I have enough blues now almost for another one, because I've been sewing some things. Because you know, I told you I was working on my next book. So that means as I'm working on book things, I'm sewing ahead. And as I'm working on my Friday UFO, I sew these other things in between. So they get done faster than you think they will when you're sewing them while you're doing other things. One last block for the week, if you're following the Aurifil Designer of the Month, that came out, and Carl Hesch of the, I have two other blocks. I'll show you the other thing real quick. So Carl Hesch of Three Dog Quilt Company. This was his design he did for the Aurifil Challenge, and his tradition memory was going to Florida to on Christmas or Christmas Eve as a little boy with his cousins, and they would be hunting for seashells, and that was like a tradition they did every time of year. So I just thought it was wonderful, and it's paper pieced. Ta-da! So I had a great time. I did a post about it, so you can see that, and you can download that. And if you make the block and share it at the Aurifil blog, again, I have all the links down here, then you can be in the running to win a box of thread just for making one block and sharing it. And then we have, these are twice a month. So we've done 3 so far. These 2, these are the Winter Wonderland book, the Sleigh Bells Sampler, and then the Scotty Dog. So if you haven't caught up on these, they're 2 times a month. But they're very easy, and then I still have to, I've got the sashing around it, but I still have to do the next part. So I didn't bring the book up here today with me, but you can take a look at it. Oh no, I did bring the book. That one I brought the book. So that's the cover quilt. And so I've done the red border on each one. I've got those strips made, but I haven't yet made the in-between part, which I want to do because I want to also set those in rows as I'm going along. All right. Now we want to talk about my Celebrate the Seasons, doing a piece from that, a challenge from that. And I sort of kicked off a lot of things this summer, did a lot of things, so it's kind of busy. But I want to show you this summer, Celebrate the Season, and do some Fusible applique with you because it's very easy. The Fusible applique is super easy. And I am going to trace the sailboat. So let's get to the sailboat in here. And you can see it. Let me just lift this up. It's on my wall there while I'm looking for the page. So that sailboat is what I'm going to trace. And I have some Heat and Bond light. And I have a little iron and a wool pressing mat. And we are going to see how super easy this is to trace. And let me scoot in. So I will show you the fabrics first. So you can see there's 3 sails. Here, let me just show you the page. Whoop. Okay, so there you can see the sailboat. So what I did is I am going to have where the plaid is on here, I'm going to use this pink and red plaid. The dots, I'm going to use the red dots. And then for this little sliver, I'm going to use this print. And, whoops, and then at the bottom of the boat, for the boat, I'm going to use I'm going to use this print. So this is the colorway. Then for the background, I think these look like waves. They could either go like with the bumps going up, or I could do them down like that. They almost look like fish scales then, right? So that is the fabric. So let's trace. We'll trace and fuse a sail. So I will take, now these are 2 sails, one inside the other to save space. And then there's the little skinny sail. And when I draw these patterns out, I don't put any seam allowance on the applique for Fusible because there's nothing turned under. But it also means like a little part of it always gets tucked under another piece, which is totally fine. This is how I work. Some people will give you little extension line drawings for that, but I don't. So a lot of people, because this is straight, will want to put a ruler, or I would probably just trace it and not use a ruler until I cut it. But let's do this just because. So I'm going to trace over, and I'm doing this upside down so that you can sort of see it better. And this is not necessarily a puzzle piece, but but it should be fairly accurate for the sails because they need to, one needs to be smaller than the other. If the one is a little bit bigger, it's not going to matter, but they're not sitting on top of each other on the actual project. Okay, so I brought my Havel scissors, which are my favorite scissors for cutting out the applique. I'm going to cut around the shape like this, and I am using the Heat and Bond Light. Feather Light could also work, but do not use the red, the Ultra. Red is no for stop. Okay. I like to do soft fusible applique, and if you have never done that before, I have a whole book that I'll link you to that so that you can get all of my tips for this, but I want to get the middle of this out. So I need to cut through the line so that I can cut out the middle of this. And now the reason why I don't pinch it and squish around is because if I was doing that, then I would be making folds in my fusible, and I don't want folds because those can cause release points for the glue. All right, so here we go. This is, and these are all reversed already. So it's for fusible applique. The shapes in the book are already reversed, these shapes, so you didn't need to reverse anything. So I have this as bonus. I didn't use it. I can keep it in a Ziploc for another project where I could get circles or small leaves. And then here is the sail. Here it is. So what I need is I've got a few things over here on the side. I've got the wool pressing mat. And then this is the largest sail, which is the polka dot. Hopefully it fits on that pressing mat. So I have the polka dot. And this is an older polka dot. So, you can always find a red polka dot somewhere. But this particular one has been around a little while. So I don't want any creases on the fabric. Let me get the iron down here. I've got the little mini clover iron, and I'll link you to that. It does get hot enough for fusible. I know I've tested it many times. So my mat is really, the pressing mat is very thick, but you always want to check if you're doing a ton of stuff and you're on some surface, you do not want it heating through. That could warp the surface. So there, what I'm doing now is putting the Heat and Bond down, and I will press from, here's the cut that I did. Do you see the cut? I will press from the opposite side towards the cut, which lets me have the most control. So pressing very quickly, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You are not like cooking a roast. So it's all very quick. If you do not use Heat and Bond Light, then you must read the manufacturer's directions. So the one tip up here. All right, so that's it. This is all that it needs. Then when I want to cut it out, let me just move the iron over there so I don't burn myself. We don't want that. I have had that happen in class before where I'm talking and I go to reach across and ow. So here is the shape that I'm going to cut from. Let me move all the fabric over there. So now I'm cutting on the line because this is raw edge applique, and that means it's the exact shape. So here is the sailboat for you to see again. I am going to cut right on the line, and when I fuse it to the background and stitch, that edge there is raw. There is not turned under. So if you're a appliquer by hand or some other prepped method where you turn under, when you do this, there's no turn under. I always cut everything starting on a straight. I don't like to start right at a point because I don't have as much control. I like to move to get that control. So I am cutting all the way down here on the line and turning. And I like these scissors. I'm going to show you the scissors in a minute, and I'll link you up if you would like to try them. But the scissors are really important to me because ergonomically I want something that works really well for what I'm doing. I don't want to stress my wrists. So here is the final sail, and so that is what we're working with, and it would be going down onto the background. You know, building the whole project out. Oh, actually, yeah, I actually, whoop, I didn't draw the biggest one, I drew the smaller one. Woo. Did I do that? I must have. So this is now the smaller one, but that's okay. I'll draw the bigger one then, because you can see it's going that same direction. The bigger one has to be reversed. It has to be like that. So I was drawing on the smaller line. I'll have to go bring it back there and see. Either that or did it tell me to reverse? This is real life, folks. I didn't read the pattern in advance. You know how that is. Yeah, that was the smaller sail. Okay. So that's what I traced. So next you would pull off the paper like this. There you would go. Just pull it off and like this, pull all the paper off, and then when you put it down you would heat it up onto your background. You know, I'm not going to lay it out because I don't have the other ones yet, but you would take the same amount of time, heat, 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 heat. So just like that. Whoop. Now when you do the other bigger sail, when you do the bigger sail, you are going to need to reverse this one, like draw it the other way, because you can see they're both going the same direction, and that's not the way the other sail is. The bigger sail is going the opposite direction. So you want to be sure you take care of that when you're doing your tracing. Now let me show you about the scissors. These are a shear, and that means that they have, I'm going to pull this up a minute so we can talk about the scissors. Hey. Back we go. Hey. So when we're talking about shears, it is this angle, and the longest, I think this is like a 7.5 or 8, I think it's an 8-inch shear. And I also like that it has three holes for my fingers on the bottom, because I feel like I have a lot more control, and I have the one thumb hole. So the whole process of using these is really comfortable. And when I'm working all the time, that angle is also really, really comfortable. So that is the scissors that I like and why I like them. All right, little applique discussion so you can see how easy it is. It's really, really easy. You just trace, cut, fuse, and then stitch. The stitching takes more practice than anything else. And one time, I'm sure I have a video out there of stitching, but I will link you to my book too, which shows the stitching, because that will take you just a little bit more practice. All right, there was a few questions this week that I wanted to answer, and one was somebody wanted to know about how when you get a charm pack, many companies make charm packs, and so when you get a charm pack, they wanted to know, do you like measure to the outside of those little pinking shear things, or do you cut those off? Do you measure on the inside? So let's talk about what this is intended for and what you should be aware of and look for whenever you buy a charm pack, where you want to just take a look at it before you just start going and make assumptions, because not everything is maybe created exactly equal. So the first thing I always like to do is, if I want to be sure, like I'm going to use it as a 5-inch square. They are designed to be, and they tell you on here, they're 5-inch, see the back? 5-inch squares. I only have some Moda ones with me today. I don't have any other companies, but they all tell you that they're a 5-inch square. So that means that's what it should be. So the pinking needs to be included, because they don't intend you to trim them. They're intended to use as is. That said, you should take one or two out of the package and then just lay the ruler on top and be sure that it's 5 inches. I thought I had the ruler here. I don't know where it went, but you can just put the ruler on top, take one square out, put the ruler on top, and see if it's 5 inches. And just be sure of the accuracy of it, because the whole concept was to not cut them, not to have to trim them, to use them as is. So trust but verify. That's always a good method to work. All right, I have another question that I thought was super good was by someone, I had a name on this one. Oh, Jennifer. Jennifer asked this, and it was several days ago now, maybe a week or so ago, but she wanted to know about what color to put with yellow. And yellow, bright, sunny, happy yellow. So here is, just so happened, in June, the packages, the color packets that subscriptions that come from the Fat Quarter Shop was yellow. This was our package. Yellow, yellow, happy yellow. For everything from sort of a mustardy color to, there, see, bright yellow gingham, the little bees, dots, gotta have dots. There's like a honeycomb in there. This one has cactus. How cute is that? So yellow, but I thought I would show you some fabric options for yellow, which are, you know, pretty fun to do. Let's take a look down here. Oh, let me just, I'm going to turn the light off over here, so that way, I didn't realize that was on the whole time. Usually I turn it off. Sorry about the glare. So you got a lot of great yellows. Oh, there's bees. So let me just get a little closer here. There we go. So what would go with yellow? First, let me show you that there was this gorgeous package of fabric, and I think there's still these Jolly Bars of Pepper and Flax. That's the name of the line, Pepper and Flax. But it was, yeah, this is a Jolly Bar, and I'll link you to this because it is my favorite yellow-gray combo. Yellow-gray, here you go, yellow-gray is gorgeous. There we go, yellow-gray. And then added with some green. Whoops, there's just like, let me get to solid, more solid green. There's a green that's with it. So yellow, grays, greens, that's a beautiful, beautiful combination. But you can get, and it's very soft. So the Jolly Bars also come with a pattern in them, in case you didn't know that. So here's the pattern that came with this one. Really pretty. You have to add like, you know, a basic to go with it. But you always get those on sale, which stretches our quilting dollars. Okay, so what else goes with yellow? Let's just explore that green a little bit more. That you know, a green, an option of green. So here are some greens, and they would look really great. So, you know, you could just do green, or get out there, green and yellow. Wouldn't have to add in any gray. You could just keep it like that. You could add black to it, do something along those lines. Now, I like this combo. What about purples? There's purple, yellow and purple, I think are fabulous. With, what if you did like a splash of green in there? Like just add a little bit of green to it. Look at that. So when you're auditioning, all you have to do is lay things out like this, and it's really easy to see what's going on. It's easy to figure it out. Another combo I like is yellows with turquoise. But I like the lighter yellows. Let me get the lighter yellow in here versus that mustard yellow. There we go. Like these bees with turquoise. Look at that. And I'll show you years ago, and I've saved this because I love the color combo. There is turquoise white with a splash of yellow. So adding yellow with turquoise is just gorgeous, super gorgeous. Okay, that's your way I audition. I just take the fabric and I make these little, you know, packages of it so that you can see, you know, so that I can see when I'm working, you know, what that looks like. And that's what I've been doing lately when I've been doing the book. I've been creating bundles of fabric, creating everything together so I know what's going on, know how it's going to look. All right, one other thing that I linked about last week on UFO Friday is the Dritz tool for doing both inserting your needle and for threading. So like a lot of us now have needle threaders, which on our sewing machines, which are fabulous. We have needle threaders for hands needles too, but needle threaders on our sewing machine are fabulous. But sometimes having the dexterity to insert the needle is difficult. So that is what this tool also does. And I had a little video there, and I will put the video again on my Fireside chat page. But one end of the tool will help you, but you put the needle in it, and then it helps you hold it. So basically you have this whole unit to hold the needle, to insert it, versus just holding onto the tiny little needle. Have you ever like tried to put the needle in and dropped it? It's awful. I hate when that happens. You know, and then I drop it in the machine. Like years ago I did that. I dropped it down in the machine. I don't even know where it went. I was like so afraid I was going to mess up my machine. So this is, and they're very inexpensive, like $6 something, or it's less than $10. Very inexpensive. So that's a neat tool. Okay, let's talk about the giveaways. Let me first give you the what's next week's, or this week's rather, what's this week's giveaway. I have a whole bundle of things. First, my wonderful friend, so her company name, I always forget her company name because I know her name, is Whole Circle Studios. Sherry Saffoldi Morrill is just a great designer, and she does a lot of more modern quilts. If you remember me doing the English paper piecing, the alphabet with the letter P, that was Sherry's design. So Sherry has this super cute needle wall hanging. It's like speedy needles. And then she did a needle minder, which is they're magnetic, so that you can, you know, put them on here, attach them to something. And so when you're doing handwork, you can just, you know, your needle can just sit there for you. So this is from Sherry, and you want to check out Whole Circle Studios. She has gorgeous, you might recognize her bee, which was something that like lots of people made. And then I'm adding to this group, this prize, this, look at it. Well, I have my finger on it. Look, isn't that cute? Then you press his nose and the little tail comes up. So there's a little tape measure and 2 of the Sew Line products for you to try. One of my little sampler of my Bonnie Lane, ta-da, and this super cute bag. Stitching is my cardio. So somebody next week will get all of this. And so the question for next week I will tell you in 1 minute. Hold on, I'll tell you that question. It'll also be at my website. So you'll go to my website, blog.patsloan.com. It's listed down here as a direct link to go there and leave your comment. Also, I want to thank you for all of your support whenever you use my links to do any of the shopping. It supports my small family business for Greg and I, and we really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anymore, and you know, so you help us out and lets me do all these fun things. So last week, my good friend Melissa Mora gave me this bundle for her fabric giveaway, and it's just gorgeous. She does a lot of clothing, so if you really want to pick up some clothing tips or just need a basic on something, you check out her Melly Sews. Check out everything there. And the winner is Ann McMillan. And the question last week was, what technique do you want to learn? And Ann's is applique, because she said she has to admit she's terrified of it. Like you just saw, I just did the applique. It's fine. It's so easy. It's just tracing and then sewing. You can do it. So I have emailed Ann, or I will email Ann. And then this week, this whole cute bundle with my friend's pieces, and then all the rest of these goodies. The question for this week, I had to write it down. Sometimes I forget the question, so I wrote it down. This week is, tell me about the space that you quilt in. So where do you quilt? Do you quilt like in a whole room? Do you have a room of your own? Do you have like a corner somewhere? Do you just have a basket and you have to pull it out and put it on the kitchen table whenever you sew? What does your space look like? You can leave me a comment and tell me what your space is, because if you have a place, you'll want to hang this up. It is so cute. It's not that big either, so you could even maybe make it a big tote bag. I think that would be adorable. Make the block and then make it into a tote bag. So I'm Pat Sloan. Thank you for joining me here in my neighborhood. You can find me at Facebook at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. And if you are at Facebook, go to my YouTube channel, which is Pat Sloan. And if you're on Instagram, I'm Quilter Pat Sloan. I will chat with you online. See you later.